Texas Public Radio with us. My name is Mariana Navarro, and I'm a producer here at Texas Public Radio. Welcome to Great SA, which is TPR's event series that takes a look at the history, the people, and the places that make San Antonio the unique and wonderful place that we know it as today. This series is inspired by San Antonio's designation as a Creative City of Gastronomy, which we've held since 2017, and we're very proud to have that designation. And it focuses on the culinary heritage of South Texas and of this region. And March is Women's History Month, and so we are celebrating here with this wonderful panel filled with the leading female chefs that we have here, some of the leading female chefs that we have here in San Antonio. So a big round of applause for them. Today's event is in collaboration with the City of San Antonio's World Heritage Office, and then is also made possible thanks to some of our sponsors, H-E-B, Frost, and Appraisal and Estate Sales by June Hayes. A special thanks to Naco Mexican Eatery for popping up and providing the delicious food that we have. Big round of applause. And also a thank you to Ila Hernandez of Hernan Mexico Mexican Food and Kitchenware for the complimentary hot chocolate that we have as well. Before we get started, I do want to let you all know that we want this to be a community conversation. We love it when we have questions. It's a little daunting to be the first one to come up and ask a question, but it really does make the panel that much better. And I know that all of our panelists would love to answer your questions. So if at any point during the conversation you have a question pop up, we have a mic set up over here. You can come, give your name, and ask the panelists the question. With that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves. So, Sophia, we'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sofia Tejeda, and I am the executive pastry chef at the Intercontinental Hotel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming here tonight. My name is Lisette Martinez. I am a chef and half owner of Naco Mexican.
Hi, my name is Chef Nicola Black. I'm the chef and owner of the restaurants The Jerk Shack and Freight Fried Chicken.
Good evening, buenas noches, Blanca Aldaco, Aldaco's Mexican Cuisine, and I am celebrating 36 years in business.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Johnson, and I'm the chef owner of Farm Table Restaurant, and we are celebrating our 10th year in business.
We have quite the panel tonight, so I'm excited to get started. And I would love to actually get this panel started by hearing a little bit about how you all got into cooking and the culinary industry itself. And I feel like so much of what we hear of people getting into the culinary industry, or just getting into a love of cooking, comes from the maternal figures in our life. So our moms, our tias, our sisters. Not always the case, but a lot of the times that's a big influence in why we cook and of what kind of gets you started. So I'd love to hear about what got you into cooking in the first place and kind of how you all got your start here in San Antonio. Anyone want to take it first?
Okay. Hi.
Sophia?
I was actually born and raised in Mexico City, so food is huge in Mexico and Latin America. So I grew up eating really good food. And my mom, who's in the audience, she raised me to, like, the kids menu didn't exist when I was growing up, right? So we had to order off the menu and we had to eat everything. So I've loved food my whole life. And then when it came to deciding, what I wanted to do for my future, I just knew. I knew I wanted to be a pastry chef when I moved to San Antonio in 2008. And I was new and I hardly spoke the language. And, I was alone. I didn't really know anybody. I just gravitated towards the kitchen and baking and being in, in that space. And it just made me feel at home. It made me feel a little bit better, not as sad. And I just kind of grabbed onto it and just held on and haven't let go. So that was kind of what got me in the kitchen.
We're going to go in line.
Whoever wants to go, whoever wants to pick it up.
That's good. We started cooking when I was like 6 years old. My house love language is cooking. Of course, you will not be able to step out of your grandmother's table without finishing the enormous plate that she'll serve you. But honestly, for my family, we go to the ranch, spending time, and getting whatever animal was available and making something special out of that was the thing. We love cooking. My kids love cooking. They're here tonight. And sharing our passion for food, it's a way to be able to express our love for San Antonio. We've been here for 8 years. We opened our business. My husband became a taquero from being a federal crime lawyer in Mexico City. And San Antonio has embraced us. I think it has not only grow a love for cooking and sharing food, but it's also made up a life path and meeting amazing people. So thank you.
So for me, my journey's kind of like y'all. Like I grew up in a military household. I'm originally from Jamaica. And for me, food just became a way to continue my culture. Living in the States, I didn't really see a lot of Caribbean culture, all the places that my family was stationed. So my mom would remake Caribbean dishes, and she would actually use what was available to remake those dishes. And so it continued on with me. I served 10 years in the Army, and it was a way for me to just keep my heritage going. And eventually it led me to becoming a chef and owning my own restaurants.
Well, I was about 24 years old. I was already dating a gentleman who is my husband today. And it was important to being from Guadalajara, which was a very important part of my life. Of course, I was born there. Being a hostess was also something that was natural. So cooking was also something that whenever you had company, it was really important to showcase your love. So in this case, when I met Charlie, he's in the audience somewhere. Basically, I would invite him to come over, and I would always like try my best, even though I was not a very good cook. So this is why it's so amazing that we have lasted so long in business, because we continue doing so well and inventing. But the recipe for success was that essentially I was cooking for love, cliche. I was also remembering a lot of the memories and the fragrances and aromas of the Mexican kitchen. So as I started the restaurant in a quaint little house at St. Paul Square back in 1989, it only had 13 tables. So I grew as I grew. And luckily, you know, I have a phenomenal team that has been with me, some of them 36 years from the day I started. So that has also helped a lot continue to develop what we do on a daily basis. In addition to that, basically, I was growing as I grew. As I mentioned, I went from the quaint little house at St. Paul Square to Sunset Station, and finally found the forever home at in the Stone Oak area. So we are now at the highest point in San Antonio. I am super honored to be in this panel. I recognize so many of the faces throughout here. There's Monica Michael. I remember Bob Ribar was the editor for the Express News. They literally made our business. The Express News and the San Antonio Light were partners to Aldacos. I still remember everybody, all the editors that came through, the young writers that are now running newspapers throughout the nation. So it has been an honor to be serving San Antonio, the world. Actually, I have done so many things, and I'm so proud to say that I couldn't do this without my team. So I give them all the credit.
Elizabeth, what about you?
Well, I took a different route. So growing up, my mom's also in the audience right over here. My mom was a caterer for many, many, many years. And so I actually got to grow up cooking with my mom or watching her cook and eating a lot of the delicious food from her catering company after events. And, you know, we would have slabs of smoked salmon in the refrigerator, just like not your typical stuff that you would think, you know, is in the refrigerator. It really wasn't until I went away to college. And I went to a small town in a college town that was in a small town in the South. And I was like, what? Like, where is everybody? It's like, nobody's open on Sundays? Like, what's going on here? And I literally had to figure out how to maintain my lifestyle, working with like a toaster oven and like a little mini fridge. And yeah, that's kind of where it started. And then I started working at a bakery in college just because I wanted to get I just wanted to get my hands dirty, and I had time on my hands. And then I started, I was studying anthropology at the time, went to law school. And then it wasn't until I was in law school that I realized I didn't want to go to law school and I didn't want to be an attorney. And then I ended up, getting married, moving to Mexico City, and the rest is history. I sold my soul to Mexican food. There you go.
Phenomenal.
And I think it's so interesting that you all mention, your culture and this lineage that you have. I think San Antonio specifically is so unique because a lot of times when you think of San Antonio, sometimes people just think Tex-Mex, but really we have such a diverse cuisine, and women are really leading the way in restaurants, in having these multicultural restaurants and these cuisines. I mean, obviously the women that are in the panel right now, I see Camille in the audience from Sorry, Chef Christina Zhao from Szechuan House. There's such an array of cuisines that are offered here in San Antonio, and women are really leading the way. So explain a little bit about why you think that is and how important it is to have women at the forefront that are bringing such a diverse palette and such a diverse cuisine here to San Antonio. Whoever wants to take that one.
So I think one of the main reasons why women are leading today, I think it's just the force that has kept us down, and we're at a stage where we won't be kept down anymore. For me, coming out of the military, I was driven to just do it myself. This is kind of a funny story, but when I graduated culinary school, the first job that I applied for, they offered to pay me $8.25 an hour. And I say this because I served 10 years in the Army. I deployed 4 years of that overseas. I had, thank you. I had a standard of life that I was already accustomed to living to, along with my husband and my stepson. And I just said, I'm not going to do that. I've got to figure out a way that is going to balance my life and allow me to do what I want. And I think as women, we're used to that. My restaurant, Freight Fried Chicken, it tells a story of Black women who, post-slavery, they had to create a way for their family. So they would walk for miles delivering, or selling fried chicken, coffee, and biscuits. And I feel like that was kind of like me when I started in 2017. Like, I'm going to find a way to create, a legacy, to generate income for my family, but also get to share what I do and do it at my own path. So I think that's what, the women that you named off, that's what we're doing, We're not standing in the background anymore. We're tired of being, told that you're only deserving of this.
Absolutely. Anyone have anything to add to that?
I think that we are in a very male-dominated industry, which is really ironic because, come on, guys, let's be real. Who learned to cook from who, okay? Very few people learn to cook from their fathers. It's all about the mothers and the grandmothers. I don't care if you're male, female, or anything else. People talk about, these maternal ties that they have to cuisine, and that's ever present in Latin America. And so it is, so I think that a lot of us, when we came into the industry, we were probably surprised at what a disadvantage we were at because of the physicality of the restaurant industry, and also just because of all these just inherent biases because it's such a male-dominated industry. And then that actually becomes even more complicated when you're a female managing men.
Something to add, Sophia?
100%. Yeah, I mean, combine, being a female managing men and then being young or younger, it's...
Or 5 feet.
Or it's just, it's
a list.
Oh my gosh. But like Nicola said, we're women, we persevere, we support each other. We keep going, we push each other, and we just keep doing it. And I mean, every kitchen that I've worked at where there's a, a woman as a manager, like they're the best kitchens I've ever worked with. They just work better. Like they just make a lot of sense. Like it just,
They're the cleanest
they're
kitchens.
so clean and organized. Like we always get 100s in our food, not food safety, but like the city, when they come and like look at your health inspection. Sorry. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, it's proven. So it's, oh my God. It's been hard. It's been really hard. But like I said, we just keep proving that we can do it and that we're amazing and that we're not going to stop, and we support each other and we push each other. And I mean, it's just the beginning. I feel like, since I started in the industry, which wasn't that long ago, to now, like there's a huge shift. There's a lot more work to do, but we're headed in a really, really great direction.
Blanca, what about you?
So, in my opinion, since I started on my own and I have always worked on my own, I have felt that, the team that I work with, they're 50% male and 50% women. The male that are in my kitchen, they're very understanding. I mean, it may be the exception, but I feel like I'm in a very good place. We dialogue, we speak, we talk about the different things, we talk about schedules. Over the years, of course, has evolved. It didn't happen overnight as far as being so perfect, not so perfect, but we are doing well. We're in a good place. We know our expectations. We know our work ethic, we know the cleanliness, we know exactly what we have to do. So in my case, I feel that the men that work in my environment have always been very comprehensive, very understanding. I haven't really had any challenges of such because I guess from the day one I was, the one that was hitting the ship. Along those lines, I can tell you that when I work with the women that work with me are very focused. They're doers, they're mothers, they're also caregivers. They're everything, and they continue to develop a phenomenal job on a day-to-day basis. They check their points. They have their checklist. They go through the whole process. Where sometimes my guys, they forget to put certain things, maybe the sugar instead of the salt or what have you, because they're like a little bit distracted. But they're also very, very loyal. So in my opinion, I have a different story because I have been doing it by myself.
Absolutely. And I think that's where you see the diversity of kind of experiences within the culinary industry. Liz, what about you? So you run your business with your husband. So how has that been like, and what have you seen?
Honestly, it's been a blessing. I mean, we both have our own jobs to do and our positions, and I don't get on his stuff and he doesn't get on mine, and we're happily married. People always say, how can you work with him? I'm like, well, we work there and he knows what he needs and I know what I'm not supposed to put my hands on. But talking about that, we work tacos, like basically mainly tacos. Who do you think makes tacos? A guy. Well, every time I'm trying to hire somebody and a girl comes and they're like, oh, but it's for tacos, it's for a grill. I'm like, my best grill person right now, and has been with us for 4 years, it's 4 feet and 7 inches. And she's a girl. We had to lower the actual grill so she could be comfortable playing with it. But I mean, it does not have to do with like, what are you? Where you come from? It's the will. She came in here and she's like, I don't know anything about cooking. I'm like, Francisco said she's not gonna last. And there he has her. She is amazing. Of course, we have men on our team and they're amazing too, but it's more towards that. It's like, it's not taqueros anymore. There's taqueras too. We can make it happen. And she's proven ourselves. And most of our staff right now, it's girls, and they're all amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Elizabeth, something that you said of, it's always our moms that are making the dinners and that are packing the lunches. And that's so impactful for us when we're young, and that kind of carries over. That's not necessarily something that is always translated within the culinary industry. Looking at like numbers from the Culinary Institute of America, it's very much so split between female chefs and male chefs, but you don't always see that same representation out in the culinary industry. Why do you think that is? You think it's a lack of investment or ideas, or why do you think that we don't see the same going towards restaurants and businesses? Why is that?
I have my own ideas, but How about somebody else chime in here? Well, I mean, I think that I also think it varies by region. It varies by culture. I don't think you can make gross generalizations. I do think that I think this phenomenon of female chefs is actually still relatively young. Just just look at the history of how long the culinary industry has been dominated by men, and I think you can go back to France, and I think you can go back to Escoffier, and you can look at what he did to codify the brigade system, and you look at and it's based off the military, right? Everybody had their positions, and it was a way of like organizing and codifying the methodology of cooking. And then French cuisine dominated the world for so long that everybody else just kind of adopted that, and you didn't see a whole lot of women. I mean, just go back and look and read Julia Childs and look at, read how difficult it was for her to break in to the French culinary world. And so, I mean, I think that history and where we stand historically has a lot to do with it.
Any other ideas?
I don't really have any other ideas on why, but I do want to say, Chef Elizabeth was an instructor at CIA, and what it did for me, being able to see a female chef on that level, it's very inspiring. It makes you just being able to see that it's possible at that level, and I think that's important, and that's where we are right now. When I first opened my restaurant in San Antonio, I can't even. It's only a handful of female restaurateurs that I really knew. Blanca, Diana, Camille, Christina, and now it's but it's seeing it. So we're at that phase where it's still a work in progress.
And I think that with that, what you see, especially in the last few years, is that female chefs have really gotten a lot of recognition from San Antonio and are bringing so much of the attention to what is getting done here. You look at the James Beard Awards. Nicola, you are a James Beard Award nominee. Sophia, you as well. So many other chefs. Elizabeth, you cooked for the James Beard Award Foundation dinner. You have now that Michelin has come to Texas. You also got a Bib Gourmand. And so there was an impactful moment that I remember seeing from the ceremony where Michelin's chef takes off his white coat. They got a star, and he gives it to a chef de cuisine, which is Chef Alex, I believe, and she has been instrumental. So how important is it, do you think, to have these recognitions come and to highlight female chefs in that regard?
Okay. I think that if it's done with really good intentions, then it's an amazing thing, right? But I think just because it's something that it's new and that people are really admiring, it's kind of coming in the forefront. It's a really good thing, like I said, but when it's done correctly, because there's some instances where the fact that like a woman is in the kitchen and they're like, oh, well, look at us, we have a woman, like she's a manager, and you're like, okay, right? But like it's so much more than that. Like if it's done correctly, it's amazing, and if it's done like in a good way, it's great. But I also feel like sometimes it is used kind of as not as advertisement, right? But like marketing. It's used as marketing, and that bugs me. Because we are amazing and we are hardworking, and I mean, look at the four of us, or five of us. But yeah, I think that's there's a little bit of a difference there.
I think you're saying you want it to quantify like what we're actually doing, and I find that as well. Like I've got a ton of awards, and sometimes when I look at male counterparts, they are easily recognized more than me, just because they can say I'm a male and I'm a chef, and that's all it takes. While for me, I've got to list all of my accolades and share what my restaurant has done before someone actually respects me. And I think a lot of us feel that, and it shouldn't feel like that.
Well, I'm always looking for the next award. I'm always looking for the next award. I want to, I have one of those things that I have a motto that says I shake it for a living without a G. Margaritas, that is.
Margaritas
I
at
didn't
the
have
end.
that. I call myself Cesti for the longest time. I have tried to I'm competitive and I like to be in the front page. So I don't have a gourmand. I didn't even know what's coming, so I will work on it, believe me. And I will definitely, I enjoy the highlight, and it's the wind beneath my wings. I just won the next one. Like, I'm going to be King Anchovy. Can you believe that? So basically, I enjoy the publicity, and it just takes me to the next level.
Absolutely. Anyone with anything to add?
Well, it's specifically about that, but what I feel, I came into San Antonio for my first degree in UTSA a long time ago. I'm an interior designer. And when I was here, in that time, I've always eaten my way through life. My mom always says that if I had spent half of the money only in restaurants and saved the other half, I will be a millionaire, and probably I will. But it's not, it's never going to happen like that. The difference of what happened in 20 years, it's immense. And I think it has to be because there's a woman behind most of the kitchens now. There is somebody behind there because the diversity is provided by culture. Culture is inherited by mothers and grandmothers, and it's now showcased with women on the kitchen. And I think that's why all those recognitions are happening, because there is people working for culture and sharing it, which was not happening 25 years ago here. So that's why we're in San Antonio as a UNESCO city. That's how I feel.
I also feel that I can tell you that my best friends are women in the kitchen. Those are who I can call. I mean, not only do I, spend a lot of time with them, they're also on speed dial. We speak the same language. We share concerns. So we definitely help each other. And I think that also makes us very strong. We were together in Turkey for almost like a week, and we had such a great time. So whenever we have any questions, you can always count on each other. And that continues to make me feel stronger.
Absolutely. A quick reminder that if you have a question at any point, please feel free to come up to the mic and ask your question. Going off of that, Blanca, I think that is something that you see so often with the chefs here in San Antonio, that it really is like a network and a culture where you all help each other out. Is that unique to your experience here? Have you seen that in other places as well? Or what has been your experience with that?
Well, for me, yes, absolutely. Not only through La Dame d'Escoffier, which is Women in Culinary, so this is throughout the world, and we have a conference once per year. I have learned so much from them. All three of us are here, and Lisette is a nominee. So along those lines, I see that with La Dame d'Escoffier. I also see that at nationwide. Texas Restaurant Association is also a big impulse behind me.
Anybody else about the culture of being able to share with other chefs as well?
Yes, Chef Sophia and we went to New York.
Trauma bonded in New York.
Horror stories all together.
But it's like working. I had a dinner that I was doing in New York one day by myself, and I asked Chef Sophia. I was like, I really need some help doing desserts, and I was like, it's gonna take you to extend your trip, and she was like, yes, chef, I'll do it. And it's like partnerships like that. One less thing that I had to stress about. And, it was amazing what we were able to create together. So I think overall, I've done the same with Chef Elizabeth. We've done partnership dinners. And I just think the community, especially here in San Antonio, there's no like cat fighting. Like when one woman needs help, it's like, we're here. We're here to support. And that's one thing that I love about this city. You mentioned, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Jason, Dady, and Crystal, they like to use the crawfish analogy, that we don't want to do that. So we don't want to be trying to like pull, like one crawfish gets up to the top. We don't want to try to pull it back down into the pot. And so I think, again, it's going to be based on region. I think that because San Antonio is a smaller city, we're a small, big city, that we are more, we're just more comforting to one another. And we really help each other out, as opposed to if we were probably in more cutthroat, cities like New York and LA. I know for a fact that it's not like that there. So I think that San Antonio being what it is, I think it helps.
Liz?
I own a business in Nuevo Laredo and in Mexico City, culinary, the restaurant wise, and I can tell you, it's not like San Antonio.
How
Nothing.
so? How so?
No. Honestly, there's a level of jealousy and there's a level of ego that keeps them pride and weird and like, I'm not gonna share my vendor. I'm like, dude, you want your vendor to sell a lot so you can get a better price. That's how I feel. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. And it's not like that. They'll hide. It's weird. That's how I felt and what I experienced in there. When I came in here, we were pleasantly surprised about how San Antonio embraced us. Like, our neighbor came into our door and he's like, your husband's learning how to drive a food truck? Because he's coming from Mexico City. Mexico City doesn't have trucks. They don't pull. Texans are born with holding a truck. Mexico City people are not. So he was like, I can teach you. And Francisco's like, what does he want? He's Mexico City's people. So what is up to him? And he's like, I'm like, nothing. He just wants to help. And that you keep on seeing it in every day. If they call me and they say, hey, I need a hand. If I'm free, you have it. Last week we were in a dinner and she's like, oh, you're going to do that event? If you need help, I'm there. So it's just like that. It happens. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I also feel like in San Antonio, we have something that like really unites us. And it's that if you're a chef here, you love San Antonio. Like, we all love San Antonio and we want to see it grow and we want to see it succeed. And we want to just bring like a spotlight that we know we deserve and we know we have the talent and the people for it here. And we just, we just know it and we want to show it and we want to support each other. And we all like just love the city so much that it unites us even more.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that you see across the board. The love for San Antonio really is very, very strong. We have our first brave person with the question. What is your name and what's your question?
Sure. Marina Peterson. I actually have a question. I love how you're embracing San Antonio. How did you finance your restaurants or just sort of navigate through what you were looking to do? Was it through loans? Was it family? Was it that you saved up? Well, if you could share.
In case for anyone that didn't hear, so the question was, how did these chefs finance their business in coming to San Antonio and having it take off?
Teach me, please. Thank you.
I actually just shared this with someone today. So I started off in a really small restaurant on the far west side over by Our Lady of the Lake University. And I did a couple different options. First option, I made my husband sell his car. Yeah, yes. And
Great
we found out that wasn't enough. And so we emptied out our savings. That still wasn't enough. And so there were these young guys that go by the name of Curry Boys. And very great guys. And I saw them doing a crowdfunding. And so we hit them up and asked like how, and they told us how. So we created a crowdfunding website and we just offered ourselves and our first kids to people who wanted to support us. And it worked and we were able to get open. But even still, those options, it still wasn't enough. The restaurant industry takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. And we're very thankful that the supporters that, supported our crowdfunding, they kept coming to the restaurant. And that is what sustained us. So hope that helps.
Follow that up with succession planning. Is there any of that? I mean, that's where my mind's at. So I'm just wondering if that's part of your story is more of how to get there, but like the bigger, how do we keep it going?
Yeah, that's definitely over the last couple of years, especially with all of the awards, And, being next to somebody like Blanca that says 36 years, it's like, okay, how do I take this to the next level and make it sustain? And being that my food is so new, Caribbean food, really just hit the map within the last 10 years. And so my hopes for it is to make it accessible, just like Mexican food or any Asian style cuisine. That's my hopes for Caribbean food. And I hope my brand, Jerk Shack, has laid, such a great foundation that it can be around for 36 years. So, yes, I am looking at that.
Anybody else have something to add?
So in my case, I started with a loan of $10,000. And of course, back then, things were very different than today. We didn't have as many regulations, credit card fees, high payroll taxes, double taxation on many different things, on city permits. We did not have to have the food handler certified, which I agree with that one. I mean, it's good to have a good safety plan. But, the liquor license, the beer license, there's just so many different things that we did not have in place back then, especially, with the inflation. I'm navigating through these times, but we navigate by doing a lot of food portion, controlling our cost, and labor. I hardly mess around with labor because I don't want to lose my people. So succession plan. I have 2 daughters. One is 29 and one is 31. I'm praying that they recapacitate and they want to come back and run something phenomenal. But they have great jobs. They work from 9 to 5, and oftentimes, one works from home. Who knows what she does, and she gets paid really well. And she doesn't work for the government. And then there's my other daughter who, they just get to travel all the time, and it's very hard for them to get them to realize what they have. And I still have about 10 more good years. So let's see what happens between now and then.
Hard to follow. Anybody else with any comment on any of that? How you got your restaurant?
I think that it just depends. It is incredibly expensive. It's incredibly expensive. I think that everything that everybody said, it's just like there's a lot of bootstrapping that happens. And I will just say that you need to make sure that whatever you do, that you have the majority. You've got to have 51%, okay? Do not allow anybody else to have control of you and your brand. That's just non-negotiable. So don't agree to anything that whittles that down.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, chef.
And kind of sticking on that a little bit on that topic of finance, I think when you look at the restaurant industry and the way that female chefs have led it here in San Antonio, it brings in a lot of money to the economy. These restaurants are generating money for the economy, whether it's these new concepts or whether it's mainstays that have been here for decades. These restaurants are such an integral part of San Antonio, of keeping it functioning, of keeping it going. So what are your thoughts on how these restaurants, these female-owned restaurants, have contributed back to San Antonio's economy, and what does it look like going forward?
Well, anyone being downtown, you have the Final Four coming up. So along those lines, it's really important for all my good friends that are within 5-8 miles from the downtown area to really plan your menus, stay open late, and really have your inventory ready. If you must minimize your menu, go to a limited menu, do so that you can serve efficiently. And you are here to serve and collect. You're not here to serve and give it away. So I feel that, with the convention center, they're working so hard with Visit San Antonio to bring the conventions. The airport's also trying to get a lot more different flights coming in. The renovation will be phenomenal. I think all the things that are coming, they're pointing in the right direction. I just wish my advice is to be laser focused and think out 6 to 10 months ahead and plan so that you can stay at the top.
Anyone with anything else to add?
We learned that on the hard way the first year. Well, I'm talking about the economy. Like in our case, it was family money loaned, and we pay it back. That's a good story. And working 2 jobs when we started. when you start a restaurant, in our case, where nobody knew who we were, what we were doing, and we had to work 2 jobs to keep it alive for the first year. And then we were able to just focus on that. But for us, that was the case. Otherwise, we wouldn't, if we wanted to live off of what the food truck was providing, we wouldn't be able to make it.
We have another question.
Hi, I'm Cecilia. I'm in the industry on the wine side of things. These are all some amazing, inspirational, phenomenal women that are here. So it's a pleasure and a joy to get to hear everything they've asked. As a fellow woman, I know that our brains are always filled with 8 million thoughts at a time. And so my question for you is, at this time in your career, in your life, do you have a mantra that you keep repeating to yourself? And if so, would you share it? I'm going to steal Blanca's "Shake It Till You Make It." But I'm just curious if you have this mantra that you keep repeating to yourself right now, and if you'd share that. Thanks.
Who wants to take that one?
I know. My biggest one right now is one day at a time. Like I was sharing with Liz right when I got here, I can't look at my calendar more than 48 hours out. It's just too much. Literally, some days it's like hour for hour for hour. And, I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. I have 2 restaurants. I'm also married. And so, 48 hours, that's all you can get from me. And if you've ever emailed me, I'm like, please send me a calendar invite. It's just staying patient and staying grounded and realizing that it is more than the current moment. Like whatever you're feeling, I was pregnant and cooking at both of my restaurants during the pandemic, and it was a lot. And I had to keep reminding myself that what I'm doing is a lot more than what I'm feeling in this moment. And I shared with Mike Sutter from San Antonio Express News a couple weeks ago that I remember when I was pregnant, I was getting burns on my stomach. And if I knew that those burns would equate to a James Beard nomination, Michelin Guide Bib Gourmand, I would get more burns. No, I'm just kidding. But,
Go for number 3.
You're on a roll.
Get closer to the stove.
But it definitely just, grounding yourself in saying like, this is temporary, and the pain's going to go away. There's going to be light at the end. So.
I like to, we have this written in our kitchen, 1-word command, breathe. I mean, basically when life gets too much, when it just feels like you can't take it any longer, if you just breathe, you can make everything okay again.
It's about the lines of "it shall pass." At the moment, it's horrible, but within an hour, you can see that everything's a little bit better. That's an important one.
And for me, it's like, oh, that's a problem for next month.
Sophia, you have to
That's
round this
tomorrow
out.
me's problem. I don't know that I have something that I say, but I will say that I have people that I count on. So, I have friends that I will like voice note them from like the walk-in. I'm like, oh my God, today is horrible. Help me. And they're the ones that are like, it's okay. You're fine. I'm like, all right. So I don't have like a mantra, but I do have friends that like I count on. Christina's sitting right here. We talk all day, and I will literally like hide in like dry storage and be like, oh my God, today is terrible. She's like, it's okay. You're fine. Like you got this. And I'm like, ah. And then I walk. So it's about the people that support me and help me and
The
are there for
support
me.
system.
Oh,
is just
100%.
just as integral to it.
Yeah.
What is your name and what is your question?
My name's Monica, and first, just thank you all for being here. It's very inspiring. But I'm curious, given the current situation, are you anticipating, what are you going to do on the 25% tariffs on ingredients going to affect your business, and also the crackdown in immigration? Because we know the hospitality industry is generally very, populated with migrants. And what are you going to do about that? How's that affecting your outlook? Yes, one day at a time, but this is where we're at.
Already.
So for me, that was a questionnaire that I had also from the Texas Restaurant Association. What would I do if the tariffs kicked in? And that was about 2 weeks ago. So the first thing, I will not compromise on avocado. If I have to, I cannot serve Chilean or the Florida one. They don't taste like anything. So basically, so I mean, it's true. I will substitute with something else. I think on the liquor, as far as tequila, I will continue to respect the price. It has some high margin profit, so I am gonna respect the tariff and I'm gonna keep my prices as is. I cannot control the plus the tequila or any mezcal. They yield a lot for the bottle. Therefore, I will respect that and I will not pass it on to my consumers. Avocado, I cannot compromise.
What about eggs?
Well, I did take a crack at it, and our chilaquiles are like $12.99, and as of today, it was like 55 cents an egg. So we're still good. We're still good. So we still have like $10 for margin.
Anyone else with anything to add?
Yeah, we're just taking it one day at a time.
Elizabeth?
We are doing the same. I mean, we're allowing data to inform our decisions, and thankfully, we have a lot of technology that helps us do our jobs well, and the technology is going to determine if we have to raise our prices. So,
Absolutely. Switching gears a little bit, Sophia, I'd love to ask you. So you learned from Chef Elizabeth and at the CIA, correct? Or you went.
I
to the
wasn't
CIA.
baking and pastry, so we were in different floors.
But
yeah.
so how has it been seeing women that have really been mainstays in San Antonio's industry, and as being someone that's a little bit younger coming into it, still having a lot left to go? What has the experience been like for you?
It's been nerve-wracking. I mean, there's amazing women that I look up to in the industry that I just I want to be them one day, right? But they're welcoming, and they're they mentor and they help, and they however they can. So it's amazing. I mean, it's scary because I'm young or whatever, but to see that they have achieved incredible things, and that if I keep working really hard, I can achieve those things as well. And that they're moms and they can do it, and it just I mean, it's like reassuring, I think is the right word, that I'm like, okay, they do it, I can do it too. Like, I'll just keep working really hard and just follow their steps and just try to be the best that I can be, and hopefully someday be like at their level. That would be amazing.
Absolutely. And we have another question.
Is there a microphone? Hello. My name is Kristen. I first wanted to tell you all thank you so much for being here and talking to us. And thank you for, really blazing the trail, so to speak, for other women owning businesses in the culinary field. I just had kind of a fun question. Obviously, you guys have the type of cuisine that you are involved with. And I wanted to find out if, one, you had a signature dish that you are the most proud of that you have created, or if not that, what is your favorite thing to cook?
Fantastic question. Hard question, I feel like, maybe to answer, but who wants to start?
okay. Well, whatever I like to cook, it depends on the season, because I follow Ayurveda, so I cook and I eat differently depending on whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall. Basically, in the summer, I don't like to cook. I want everything to be raw because I'm incredibly hot. In the fall, I want warm, kind of like soupy things that are very grounding. And then in the winter, spring, I want more of those grounding things, maybe a little bit more spice, more curries, things like that. And one of the things that I think I'm most proud of that we do is this funny little dish called khichdi. And you can call it kachari, you can call it khichdi, but I remember opening up the restaurant at the Radius building. I had a chalkboard menu, and I was writing my things out on the chalkboard, and I just remembered giggling to myself and thinking, this will be on the menu for a day. Nobody's going to know how to pronounce it. They're not going to know what it is. And it ended up being one of my top selling items on my menu at my old location. And it continues to be one of my top selling items. And it just kind of, it's this like cultural phenomenon that everybody, no matter what culture they're from, likes beans and rice. And it's very satiating. It's very nourishing. And so I love that, people come to me all the time. They're like, I just had, you know, any number of things. They've gotten, a terrible diagnosis. They've just had an operation. They are having issues with their digestion. They want to lose weight, like anything. And all I have to do is prescribe kitchery. Here you go. Your life will be better if you eat this.
I need to
There you
know.
go.
Easy fix. What about you, Blanca?
Well, so I'm pretty proud of our pastel tres leches. I want to say that honestly, written by the Express News, we were the ones. We did not invent it, but we introduced it to San Antonio back in 1989. I think our signature, definitely something that I'm very proud of, are the crema cilantro and crema al chipotle. And definitely the centerpiece. The centerpiece is a dish that was meant to be sitting at the table as you would when you were like in Mexico eating. So instead of basically what I remember growing up, and this is why, we would come from different schools and sit at the table till everybody gathered. So we began to have lunch together. For that, we had agua fresca waiting for us, and then maybe, cucumbers or something, not to deviate our appetite. So by the time that we started eating, our main course was served. We always ate very zesty, very deliciously, meaning that, okay, if I have carne asada, well, I want some avocado slices and chiles toreados, and I want some red onion, grilled queso panela. So it was enhancements to our current lunch. So as the restaurant evolved, eventually I remember about it because every time that they served me a plate, I kept asking for, oh, may I please have avocado? May I please have red onions, etc., etc. So I was complimenting my meal. And actually, I put it in the menu around the year 1993 as ensalada mexicana. But it was, and it described in the menu, lettuce-less salad. So it did not have any lettuce. But it's a correct technical, grammatical name in Mexico. Ensalada de nopalitos doesn't have any lettuce. Ensalada de huevo doesn't have any lettuce. So along those lines, the centerpiece came along. So it was to enhance our meal as 6 of us were sitting together. So we had grilled queso panela, fresh tomatoes, rajas poblanas, chiles toreados, red onions, all in a cilantro lime vinaigrette. And that became a masterpiece. So everybody goes all the way down to Stone Oak to have the centerpiece because it was meant to be shared. Now people have it on their own and they add protein. So I'm super proud of that one because it's almost everything that I like combining one plate, especially with the cilantro lime dressing. That is a phenomenon, a hit in any language.
Even just describing it, having chefs describe their own food is magical. What about you, Nicola?
I would say our braised oxtails. So in the Caribbean, braised oxtails is something that you have like Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter. It's a real hearty dish. It takes hours to make. And so we serve it only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at our restaurant, just to kind of make it a special time to come. We've been selling out. There's never like a limit of how much we could buy. It's going to go. But for me, it's something that I grew up with, and it just brings me at peace, having that nice hearty dish and the rice and peas, which we use pigeon peas, and, braised oxtails, rice and peas, cabbage, plantains. It's a match made in heaven.
Liz?
For me, it'll have to be not a dish, but the salsas. As a Mexican, I think salsas for us are super important. And I'm talking about moles, the spicy sauces that we use in the restaurant, the sauces that we use for the chilaquiles. I think at the end, those specific condiments that go in each one gives them a lot different profile and go and enhance, just like Daco said, it's just enhance them, enhance the rest of the meal. If you add a little bit, not a lot, Alex, a little bit of that red spicy sauce to an asada taco, the whole everything changes. We're proud of our meats. Everything is from scratch. And of course, there's things that take 80 hours in total, like the brisket, from when we cook it to when we shred it, and then we boil it again, and then it's a big process. We love it, and it's a bestseller. But I think it wouldn't sell as much if we were not complementing it with the right salsas. That's 30% of the dish for me, at least, and the other 30 is the tortilla quality, and then we'll talk about the meats.
Absolutely. I feel like the salsa really makes the taco at the end. And when you don't have it, you miss it. What about you, Sophia? To round it out.
That's like a lot to follow. I think that something that I'm very proud of that I think I've kind of really done well are conchas, right? So of course it's super traditional, like we all know it, but it's such a difference when you use like really good butter and like really good quality like ingredients that conchas are usually like meant to be like dipped in, hot chocolate or coffee. And I created something that's like cloudy and like moist and just like fluffy and delicious. And so you can just enjoy it entirely by itself and not have to like dip it in anything. And I'm very, very proud. You should come try it. But yeah, I'm very proud of it.
So after you try all the savory, you can end with the sweet. Yeah, exactly. And then for our final question of the night, your name and your question.
I'm so pleased to be the final question. My name is Katie, and one thing I'd like to also add, chefs, y'all are so amazing, is just my incredible gratitude for how generous you are with your time and efforts in giving back to the community. I think it's something that the San Antonio community has made better because of your incredible generosity, both of spirit and of creativity. And that's actually the reason for my question. You are in intensely creative fields. And I think when that becomes your job, it becomes even more important to have the restorative aspects of how you find your creativity back. So I'm curious how you find that in your own life, where you synergize that from. And I just, again, would like to thank you so much for everything that you do. And I'm very curious to know your answers as well.
Turn your phone off. 12 hours. Regenerative.
I go boxing.
Oh God. I don't know. I feel like the most inspiration and stuff like that I find is from people that I care about. I like to ask my friends, my family, like, what do you like? What do you want to try? What are you looking forward to? And take from that and just kind of make it our own, because it gives it a little bit, like it kind of makes you connect with it a little bit more. So I like to ask people that I care about, like what they like, what they want, and create it for them.
Anyone else with anything to add?
I like to eat. I like to go to, new restaurants. I like to try out different restaurants. Like my husband, he's going to say, like, she's going to try something. It doesn't matter where. It could be a hole in a wall. We're going to make that drive, and we're going to go try something. Literally yesterday, I saw Chef Jason Dady post a restaurant, and we were there today. Okay. I said, we got 45 minutes for lunch. We're going there. But I was in the military, so I spent 10 years eating what somebody told me to eat. And so I find now that I have my own time, I want to try it. Even if it's a little bite, I just want to try. I want to know. I like looking at different menus. That's just what I do.
I think my best ideas have come in silence when I'm speaking to myself.
And you have a question? Your name and your question.
Good evening. Final question. I promise. My name is Citra Jones, and thank you all for taking the time out to be here. I really have appreciated it, and I'm sure everyone else has the beautiful jewels that you've shared about your journey. So my question is specific to your industry, but I believe also can pour over into regular life as women or individuals. As chefs and also owners, what are some strategies or, maybe some things that you've put into place, some systems that have allowed you to kind of step away from your baby that you've birthed and, relinquish a little bit of control and trust and, find that balance that we never seem to get to in life. So what are maybe some of the strategies or systems that you put into place?
Oh, I think that our teams, right? Finding really like people that believe in you, that trust you, that, like grow to love you, that you can trust back, and that, are going to have your back, and that you both have like kind of like the same goal is huge. Like having a team that becomes your family, and that, you both have each other's backs is like the key thing for you to be able to be like, okay, like I trust them, they trust me. I'm going to take today off and everything is going to be okay. And to find that is so special, and it's so hard that when you do, you just hold on and you love them, and like just will not let them go. And it's really hard to find that, but when you do, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I would say the team, having someone believe in your vision. I remember when I started off of Matt Year in West Commerce, a lot of people didn't believe in my vision. And, when I found those team members, it was like one, and then you have another one. And it's allowed me to do some like really amazing things. I got to go to UK and Scotland last year. I got to travel to New York. And my team didn't feel like, as a leader, that I abandoned them. They were really excited for me to go and learn something and bring something back and share with them. And I think that's really, really important in what we do, because if you don't have a team that allows you to leave and do things like this and share and grow your business, then, you're basically handicapped and you're not going to be able to grow. So believing in yourself and also believing in them. My team, I felt like I had the riffraffs as well. And so, just understanding what they wanted out of life and seeing how we can align together. I think that's why we're here with the recognitions and the restaurants and stuff, because we're matching, we're gelling. So
For me, as to develop my team, you have to practice what you preach. Number one. And I also feel that policies and procedures is really important, so that we can always fall back on doing the right thing. And very, very importantly to me is also to have pre-shifts and voice the opinion of the expectation. You have to repeat it day after day after day, and it becomes just another motion. But basically, you continue to voice your expectation. So it's out there, and everybody is now accountable. So by doing this, and when you fail to do it, like when I speak with my managers, you assume, and the only person disappointed now is you. So it's really important to voice out, share the expectation, brief your team every pre-shift. Like in the morning, we have this and this going on. In the evening, it's a completely different animal. We have to do many, many different things. We have much more business at night, and then you have all the capacity going through all the way from the hostesses to the bussers. The hostess need to be reminded of their job, and come on, you're doing a great job, keep smiling, and again, just a pre-shift to voice our expectation is always something that has worked really well, falling back on policies and procedures.
Absolutely. It's got to be written down, and it's all about the people. And, we also say clear is kind, so I learned that from one of my managers. And I think that that's incredibly important, that nobody can read your mind. And so if you're disappointed, or if you're not happy with the way things are going, regardless of what industry you're in, you need to just be disciplined enough to write it down, make sure you preach it, you teach it. And then that way you can hold everybody accountable. And then that way it becomes part of the culture, and you have to just repeat yourself over and over and over again.
To end this out, we talked about your favorite dishes and what you're super proud of creating. What are some other female-led, women-owned restaurants that are here in San Antonio that you love to go to, it's something for you that there's a dish or a team or just anything? What are other restaurants that you all would recommend?
Clementine. Chef Elise is incredible. Her desserts are amazing. I want to be her when I'm older. And baked by Gracia Ramos, who's right here over in Castroville. If you want laminated dough, croissants, anything made like from scratch with like the best ingredients and the best people, go 100%, 110% go to baked.
Well, I have a lot of people in here that I love already, but honestly, Cristina Sao, I love their restaurants. So good. They're so good. My kids love Asian food, so it's a very pleasant visit for us.
Dashi House and Szechuan House, yes. Nicola?
I would say Michelle over at Carnitas Don Raul. Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
Any others? Blanca?
Well,
Too
I
many
have
to
so
name.
many, and if I leave one out, I'm not in a good place.
Too many to name. Too many to name.
But yes, I mean, I admire all of them, and you know who they are, the big players and the small players. I frequent them, and I love them, and I'll do anything for them. I just don't want to leave one out.
Elizabeth, anything to add?
Well, I was sitting here trying to think of all the different places that, I love and all the different women that I respect. And I would kind of, I think I'm going to mirror Blanca. There's just so many people that that I admire, that I buy from, that and actually, can I talk about farmers maybe? As opposed to, so there's a ton of farmers that I really love. Sarah Barbosa with Enchanted Acres is really amazing, and she's just like this encyclopedia of knowledge. And I think that what she's doing with her regenerative farm is really important. And also Natalie and Cody from Green Bear Farms are doing some amazing things as well. And so it just, I think it's really important to. I always tell people to vote with their forks and to vote, and to really buy local, because that's, keeping our dollars in our local economy is really important.
I think that rounds it out and just shows how special it is to be in San Antonio and to have the culinary scene that we have here in San Antonio. I want to thank each and every one of our guests so much. A big round of applause for all the wonderful chefs who have come out tonight. It truly is so fantastic to be able to hear from the people that make San Antonio's food scene what it is. So thank you all so much for your time. Thank you to our sponsors, HEB, Frost and Appraisal and Estates by June Hayes, and also our wonderful partners at San Antonio's World Heritage Office for helping to make this possible. A big thank you as well to Naco Eatery, who had the amazing pop-up that we had tonight, as well as Ila Hernandez of Hernan Mexican Food and Kitchenware for the complimentary hot chocolate. This is just one of several great essay panels that we've had that are going to come. So please be on the lookout for anything moving forward. We've had everything from Tex-Mex to Native American food to Asian to women to Polish. And so there's much, much more to come. For example, we have a James Beard Award panel coming up as well, Essay Legacy Restaurant. So please be on the lookout for those at tpr.org. You can also follow along on our Facebook page. And just one last thing to kind of round this out. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are in the middle of, we just started. Today was the first day of our pledge drive here at Texas Public Radio. This is the time of the year where we ask you, our supporters, to help keep real, reliable journalism on the air and to help keep panels like this going, to hear from the community and to hear back. So if you are already a supporter of TPR, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't already, we ask that you consider making a donation. Become a sustaining member, make a one-time donation. You can go to tpr.org, and a big thank you in advance for that. One big round of applause again for our panelists.